having glitches. Please stand by. Okay, can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. Give me 1 second here. I had to reset this up. I had used a new hub for the cameras, and it's super duper glitchy. So I had to remove that. I didn't figure that out till I hit start. So I will be with you in just a moment here. Let me add the other camera. All right, so what I got today is some SEs to work on. Yes, Retro Techie, I have a couple of old Macs. Let me see if I can get this working here. All right. So let me switch cameras, and I'm going to move over here. So what I got over here on the workbench is I've got an SE with a little tiny ATX extension that I cut off that I can use to test stuff with, and a regular old SE. There's nothing in it except the power supply and a CRT. And I just realized I'm going to need a keyboard and mouse, so let me grab those real quick. keyboard and mouse. And what I've got here is, oops, I bumped into that. I've got a whole bunch of motherboards here to test, and the first two I want to look at are these SE30s that I sent to Joe from Joe's Computer Museum, and it looks like he did a great job cleaning them up for me. And what I want to do is power them on and see what kind of results we can get out of it. So the first thing I got to do is hook up my chassis. And then I'm going to need some RAM and ROM and keyboard and mouse. Or in this baggie. See what we got here. So according to Joe, this ROM is no good. And this ROM is supposed to be good. So let's try that one. It's a stock SE ROM, SE30 ROM. And I've got some RAM here. 2 different sets. I got those. And I got these. So I'm going to put 4 of these in. Can you guys see this okay? I think this is 4 megs of RAM. And then I'm going to need to hook up 80B, I believe is right there. The other thing I'm going to need is a speaker. There's no speaker in this. I have one around here somewhere. Give me a second. Where are you hiding? Not in there. Do I have one? I thought I did. Maybe I don't have one. Well, let's just try without. And if it works, then I'll go grab a speaker. Let's see what we get out of this. These are first power up since I got these back. Well, that's a good sign. Sorry, this monitor is at kind of a weird angle. I tried to put it so that you would be able to see. And I'm getting a blinking question mark. So that looks pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a speaker. Or, well, is there a speaker in here? I can't tell. Give me a sec. Oh, look at that. There's a speaker, but the cord's too short. Figures. All right. Didn't think of that. All right. Hang tight. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I hope everybody didn't leave. Looks like we got a few people here. Garth, Retro Techie, Carthor. I don't know if I've seen you before. Hope everybody's doing okay. Garth, what am I doing with them? I am going to put one into the green Mac, which is currently an SE, not an SE30. And one I'm going to put in an SE30 in. Just make an SE30 out of it. All right, this is a speaker from an Apple II, but let's see if it works. It's a little soft, but I'll take it. So the next thing is to see if we can actually boot the thing. And I could try the SCSI to SD, but I think I'd rather see if this floppy emu works. This is hey, all things DG, how you doing? This is my floppy emu. It's one of them. This will emulate a Mac floppy drive. I think this one's in the Mac mode. Now this is the dead one. Bummer. Let me grab a different one. Here's one with no case on it, but it should work. Okay, Macintosh stuff. Is this in? Oh, this is in Apple II mode. I think I can still make it boot something. All right. So I'm booting System 7.1 Disk Tools. It doesn't like it though. Let me try something different. All right. For now we're in 3.5 mode. And Disk Tools. See what it does with that. Hey, look at that. We have a booting Macintosh. I'm booting from an 800K disk because that floppy emu's in Apple II mode, and Apple II mode doesn't know how to do high density. I will fix that in a minute. I just wanted to see if this boots. And I've got a mouse here, which is kind of yucky, but it should work enough. So yeah, 4 megs of RAM. Sweet. And let me shut this off, and then we have a better way of booting this now that I know it works. I'm going to take this floppy emu out, and I'm going to grab, it was right here a minute ago, there it is. I've got a blue SCSI. I just need to copy a disk image onto it real quick. Which I can do over here. What do we want to boot? We've got system, how about system 7.1? Copy that over. Oops. Oh, there's already an image on there I got to get rid of. Empty the trash. Come on, empty the trash. There, now I got 2 gigs available. So that'll take a minute. Yeah, it might have been a 1.4, even though it was labeled 800K. It's probably why it failed. The thing is, my the floppy emu that I used to use for the Macs, it was set in Mac mode. It's actually the newest one. It's doing something really weird where the screen goes all dim and it tells me to update the firmware, but when I update the firmware, it just fails. And for some reason, this loose one's in Apple II mode, and my other cased one is in Apple II mode. So I need to switch at least one of those, because I've got this W drive, and this will work with Apple IIs but not Macs. So this should be my Apple II thing, and I should start using the floppy emus for Macs. That's done copying almost. Come on. So this motherboard was in a computer that I bought that didn't turn on, but it looked really clean, but I had really no information and I couldn't get the user to open it. But based on the fact that there was no rust showing up on the back connectors, I went ahead and just went for it. And it turned out that the computer at some point had been dropped, and I don't think it was in shipping, and physically broke the neck and the power board. So that's why it wasn't turning on. And I got really lucky, and the battery did not leak. It actually sort of worked with a different chassis, but the sound was really weak and it was flaky. So rather than do all this recapping work myself and cleaning, I've been working on a lot of Apple II stuff that you'll see coming up soon. I sent this and the other board that I had, which is one I've had for a long time, over to Joe at Joe's Computer Museum. And I asked him if he would recap them for me. He was skeptical at first that they looked pretty crummy, but after he cleaned them up and put new caps on, they're basically perfect. The only thing that was really wrong was this one ROM sim was flaky. He said it would boot, but then it would crash after a few minutes. And this is actually not even from either one of these. This I actually found in a Mac 2 CX, but it's an SE30 ROM, so it's really weird where that came from. So that I'm just going to toss aside, and in one of these, I'm going to put one of those big mess of wire ROMs, which I think would be better, because then you can run diagnostics and boot from the ROM. So anyway, the image is done copying onto this SD card. So let's pop that in. We got to make a little bit of room here. Got a bunch of junk in the way. These batteries. There's something else I'm working on. I'm going to put the Blue SCSI on here. I got the external version recently. Now let's boot it up with this guy and see what we get. It'll roll away. That's booting. That boots up really quick too. So this image is just a stock image I got from the Blue SCSI site, and it has some stuff on it. I don't know how well you can see the screen with the lights, but I don't have an extra camera to point down or point across right now, so this will have to do. whole lot of utilities here. And Tattletech and tell me what it says. Macintosh SE 30, 16 megahertz 030, hardware FPU, yes. 4 megs of RAM, virtual memory, no. Now this all looks completely normal. So that's cool. I think this one was a successful repair. I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and we'll give the next one a try. All things you said, you saw a bunch of SE30s on eBay. They don't really show up too often, and when they do, they're always like untested. There was one I found a while ago where it's like doesn't turn on and it had no motherboard in it. They're like, well, yeah, it's not really going to work without that, but okay. So I'll take the blue SCSI out, and then I'm going to steal all this RAM back off. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave that RAM there, and then I can try the other RAM in the other board. So this one is good. Now let's try this one with this RAM. This one's a little weird because it's got each bank of RAM has got different color slots. I'm not sure if they just ran out of parts in the middle of building it, or if that's how they did these earlier ones. This one's actually from a year before the other one. It's a very early one. This one had a soldered battery like most SEs do. And it was a Varda and no leaks at all. If I want to replace it, I'm going to have to solder in a battery holder, which I have, but I haven't done it yet. So I'm putting in another bank of RAM that I have and the same ROM. Put the blue SCSI. And then we need our main power cable. And I'll plug my sort of busted looking Apple II speaker back in. Which might not be the right ohms for this. Is probably why it's weak sounding. But all right, let's try this one. Bong. That one's booting too. Awesome. And this one had pretty bad cap leakage on it. And I really had like no sound. And I was really worried that the Sony sound chips were going to be bad. But it doesn't really look that bad around that area. It might have just been that maybe 2 pins were shorted or something. And this one's an older one. It's got the ceramic 030, but then a regular package FPU on it. So it's sort of weird. It's not like a Mac 2 or 2X where it have both ceramic. So let's run Tattletech on here. Oh, whoops, I forgot to plug in ADB. And you know what? You're not supposed to hot plug ADB, but I live dangerously around here. Let's run Tattletech. Garth, I'm running something called Tattletech. It's on the images that you get from the Blue SCSI site. I think you can get it from Macintosh Garden too. So we've got Mac SE 30, 16 megahertz 030 with hardware FPU. So it's seeing all the hardware. 4 megs of RAM, so this RAM works too. And the rest of this looks normal. It sees the serial ports. And sees the sound. So that's pretty cool. And what I want to do with one of these is probably in the green one, is instead of using a blue SCSI on this one-off, I'm going to use one of these raw SCSIs. And I have a bracket I got from Potato Fi that exposes the Ethernet port on the back so that you can emulate SCSI to Ethernet, so that way you can get Ethernet out of here. And now they also have been doing a beta of the Radius Power View, which gives you color video out, which you can do through the Pi's micro HDMI port. This is a Pi 4, which I actually bought just before they became unobtainium. And it just has this little daughter board that sits on the top and it gives you the SCSI connector for your hard drive to emulate a hard drive. So this does the job of a blue SCSI and Ethernet and video now, which is pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to setting this up. I got the new firmware on it, so I can do the Ethernet and the video. But look forward to a video about that soon. Yeah, Garth, I need to get a copy of Snooper. I don't think there's a copy of Snooper on here. I need to put it on my main image. Yeah, it's not on here. I'm not really sure why. So I'm gonna shut this one down, and then I've got a few more here to try out before I stop. It's not going to be a super long stream or anything. This is just stuff I wanted to test anyway, and I might as well do it online. Get rid of all that, and then this one. This is the one that I'm going to use in my Green Mac. So I'm going to put the ROM onto the other one, which is where it came from. And then I'm going to steal this RAM out of here. I don't have any more available. I'm going to try a couple more. Actually, those have RAM on them, so I'll leave that alone too. I have a couple SEs here. This one is an FDHD, but it's had some mods to it. It's got a coin cell battery instead of a regular 3.5 half AA. And I just want to see if it boots, because it should. And I wrote a sticker on it that says good, but it's been sitting here for quite a while. And I also want to see if this RAM's any good. So let's hook that up, and then I need a speaker. I wish the speaker worked like the Classic, where it was just part of the other connector, but it doesn't. All right, that should be good. Let's see what we get here. 3, 2, 1, go. Bong. Okay. And I'm using the same image, same 7.1 image I was using on the SE30. Well, is it going to do anything? Oh. Yeah, it's booting. Awesome. I can see the blue SCSI shining away. These external blue SCSI cases with the translucent lid on them are really cool. If you don't have one, you should get one. You can get one from Tom Barber or Joe at Joe's Computer Museum. And if you're not in the U.S., there's a whole bunch of other ones. So you should go to bluescsi.com and check it out. So this loaded right up. And I'm just going to double check Tattletech real quick. This mouse is junky. I need to clean it, I think. Mac SE, 8 megahertz, 68,000. And with hardware FPU, it says. That's not right. No FPU. Sorry. So close that, quit that. And I got one more that I want to look at today. And this one's a rather odd one. It's just an SE, but it has a little secret. It's a regular SE, but it has a Radius 68020 with a 68881, the older version of the FPU. So it should, in theory, be on par with a Macintosh 2 in speed. Let me hook up my speaker. And my power. And see what this does. This should have 4 megs of RAM in it too. Now this card did not work when I got it, and I ended up burning new ROMs for it. And I only briefly got to test it with a different board, and I never tested it with this one, so let's just see if it likes it. Oh, look at that. Radius Accelerator 16. Copyright 1989 Radius. It's not seeing the drive. Does my SCSI not work? Well, the blue SCSI is blinking 5 times. I don't think it likes this machine. Let me try the floppy emu real quick and see if it boots from that. Joe didn't work on this one. This is one that I fixed myself. Oh, I gotta pick a disk. Let's see. Let's try 608. It likes the floppy. This is just the 608 installer disk. Let me grab a different SCSI device. Maybe it doesn't like that image. Yeah, that booted okay. So, yeah, 4 megs of RAM. Let me shut it down. I'm going to hook up this other device. This is a SCSI to SD. And I want to see what this does. All right. So now I've got that hooked up. That shouldn't need power. Let's see what it does with that. I don't know if the OS on here is old enough to work with an SE though. Nope. All right, that didn't work. Okay, so that's not going to work. Let me see what's up with this blue SCSI. For whatever reason, it doesn't like that that image. So let's give it a different one. Well, is it going to show up on here or not? There it is. Let's get rid of System 7.1. And give it 608. And that'll just take a few minutes to copy over. There are actually two more boards here too while we're waiting for that to copy. This one is the one I tested right before I went live, and this one does not boot. And I think it might have something to do with this corrosion over here by this cap. I'm not sure. So that's what I'm going to have to look at on another stream. It's got a lot of dust and crap on it too, so I probably should go through the cleaner. And then this was one I was going to try out, but there's one little problem, is that I don't have a processor. So that would probably keep it from booting, I think. I actually stole the 68,000 off of here to fix something else. So this has become a parts board unless I can find another random CPU somewhere. This is the older version that used resistors to select the memory size. And somebody put a weird battery holder on here that has a spring on it. I've never seen one of these on a Mac before. I doubt that's original. This came in a super trashed machine that actually had the face of the screen was cracked and the corner of the case was cracked. So I've just been using it for parts. Just done copying, almost about 30 seconds. All right. I really love the fact that the Mac Studio has this SD card slot right on the front. It saves so much time versus my Mac Mini where I was crawling around behind it trying to find the slot. I ended up using a USB reader. All right, let's see if this will boot off 608 on SCSI, and if not, it might be something wrong with the SCSI on this board. What do you want to do? Hey Dave, how's it going? Well, it doesn't like this one either, so that sucks. There must be something wrong with my SCSI port. I don't have another blue SCSI handy, I don't think. Hang on. No, I don't. No, wait, maybe. There might be one in this Quadra 700. Oh yeah, it's an F4, but I bet it'll work. Let's give it a try. You want to come out of there? There you go. So what I got here is an F4 version of the Blue SCSI. This one is a faster one by Androida. It uses a different chip than the Blue Pill. Not sure what this is called exactly. But I know that it boots that Quadra 700, so let's see if it'll do something with our SE here. Hopefully it's not like System 7.6 or something higher. Yeah, Retro Techie. Let's see what this does. It does the same thing the SCSI SD does. It crashes with a memory error. And I don't understand why the SCSI on here isn't working if it sees the drive. It's got power. Boots from floppy. What else could it be? I could see what OS is on it. It might just be too high of an OS. Let me check that. Yeah, Retro Techie, I can give you a board with the battery damage all over it if you want. Let me see what version of the OS is on that stick. And while I'm doing that, I can try to boot from the one that I put in the Blue SCSI external. See what that does. It's a little harder to get this SD card in and out of. I'm booting from the different one, and now what do we got here? Quadra 700. System 755, it should work. So I don't know why it's not. I don't really want to mess with that one because it works with the Quadra. And it does not like this stick at all. It's blinking 3 times. Does 3 times mean it doesn't recognize the image? Let me try formatting it again. This is one of the sticks that was being, or the SD cards that was being kind of flaky. Not readable. Two gigs. Let's erase it and see what that does. I call it BS because that seems to be the good name for it. And it says done. Nothing on it now. Let's copy that image back over. Blue SCSI images. System 7.1, which we know booted the both SE30s. So it should boot this too. Come on, cooperate. And this reminds me of one of Steve's streams recently where he spent a whole bunch of time just copying files. This is a lot of what this is. But How many Apple IIs do I own? I'm not exactly sure. I can look around this room and just count what's in here right now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Oh, there's 2 under there. There's 24 in this room, but that's not all I have. Is this done copying yet? Almost. Take a sip of my Coke. I'm thinking that also the other thing could be this accelerator is messing up somehow the SCSI. Maybe the timing is getting pushed off. Maybe the caps on the board are a little bit crummy and it's pushing it a little bit out of spec. So if I can't get it to work after this, what I'll probably have to try to do is move this accelerator to a different SE, maybe one that's a little cleaner, like the first one the first SE that we tried. This one is weird though, because it's got the wrong caps, and I don't know if the board will fit over them. So I'll have to mess around with that, which is not something I'm going to be prepared to do today. But the copy copied, so let's see what happens now. Apple II hoarder. I actually just bought another one, sight unseen, other than one photo, for a really good price. So even if it doesn't work, it's still a good deal. Okay, I'm trying this again. This is the F4 Blue SCSI with the 2 gig card that worked in the external 1.1 Blue SCSI. I just reformatted it and put a fresh image on it. So let's cross our fingers. Hey, look at that. Welcome to Macintosh with the accelerator installed. This Mac SE, I believe, has FDHD ROMs. I can do that, Garth, but I have to figure out how to do that. Where I'm reading the chat, I have no actual control. It's just a tablet. But I can certainly figure that out. Give me a second. What does this do? Did that work? I think that's how you do that. I don't know. I'm new at running a channel. Retro Techie, any power PC Macs. In this room, not a lot. There's some iMacs in the back corner that are wrapped up. I'm just storing them because they're not worth anything. And there's a, I think it's a PowerMac 7100 over there. Let me try again. Oh, maybe. Oh, I know why. I'm trying to do it from the wrong chat. Yeah, that works. Okay. So the question was, does the SE have clean ROM? I'm not sure what that means exactly. You mean 32-bit clean? Because the SE is no. I don't think so. The SE30 has a dirty ROM. This mouse does not work. Let me grab something better. This is one of my rebuilt 80 mouse 2s. This should actually work. Yeah, that's much better. It's not the right mouse for this machine, but I don't care right now. So let me run Tattletech and let me see what it thinks about this. So anyway, the ROM in this machine is I think an FDHD, which is why I wanted to put this accelerator on this, because then I would be able to run 1.4s and put it into my extra super drive shell. You ever try to use a scroll wheel on a mouse that doesn't have a scroll wheel? Let's see what this says. 32-bit capable, no. But the thing is, with the SE30, if you use a BMOW ROM or Rominator, it makes it run 32-bit clean. But you can always run mode 32 on some of these, and I think I could do it on this one because it has the accelerator. And Tattletech does see this 68020 at 16 megahertz with a hardware FPU. So what's funny about this is some software with this will see this as an SE30 because it thinks, because it's 16 megahertz and it has an FPU, that it's an 030. So when I try to install the Asante SCSI Ethernet drivers, it kept telling me that my machine was an SE30, and I had to override it and tell it no. Retro Techie, that is not what we're talking about. But if you want ROMs, you should try MAME on an old Mac. You could play Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man, all that stuff. So it sees all 4 megs. And it sees the slot, which means that those chips are working. And it sees the sound chip, which is awesome. On this one, I just want to play with this one has been recapped. So that means the sound should be fairly good on it. This is old control panels. Let's see, sound. And we can do some Mac 84 action here. Turn this up. This speaker is blown. But you got all the sounds here. Hey Joe, how you doing? I already tested the SE30 boards you worked on. They work awesome. I appreciate you doing those for me. I'm just playing around with this SE with a 68020 accelerator on it, which I thought was damaged. And I think what turned out to be a bad SD card and a SCSI to SD with too new of an OS on it. So it actually boots now. So I said this. I'm going to do one more thing here, which is I want to take out this F4 blue SCSI, and I want to try it the way I wanted it originally, which is that, oh, that's hard to get out of there, which is the external blue SCSI, which is what I really want to be able to use on these. Let's put that card in that blue SCSI. Well, Joe did excellent work on those SE30 boards. I mean, not only are they working completely, but they basically look brand new. Okay, so now I've got the external Blue SCSI installed and my blown Apple II speaker. And this one has an adapter to use a coin cell battery, which I didn't realize till just now. Let's see what this does. Yeah, Garth, those edge connectors suck. I don't want anything to do with that era of Mac. That's why I gave Joe my 550. I'm like, I'm done. Is this Blue SCSI going to work? What does that blinking mean? 1, 2, 3. Does that mean it can't see the image again? Yeah, it doesn't see the image. I don't get it. Okay. Let's rule out this weird board. Yeah, but 3 no image makes no sense because this card just worked in a different Blue SCSI. Am I not putting it in the slot right, maybe, or something dumb? It basically goes upside down, right? Let me try it again. We know that SD card is good right now. I forgot the speaker. Click. Well, this Blue SCSI is basically new. And well, now it works. Maybe I just didn't slide it in all the way. Or maybe the SD card has crud on the contacts. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so it boots off this. Maybe I just put it in wrong. It's probably user error. I'll go back to the sounds and play with that. Sweet. Hey, this image has After Dark on it. But let's see one more thing. SCSI director. Well, Joe, this Blue SCSI was manufactured by Joe's Computer Museum, so I have to put the blame there. Yep, it's showing up here fine. Quantum Fireball, which is BS, but that's what it does. What I want to do soon is do some firmware updates on these Blue SCSIs I've got. There's a whole bunch of new features coming, and you can update the Blue Pill and get them even on the ones you've already got. Yeah, most of these Blue SCSIs, I either build it or buy it, and then I put the image on it, and I put it in the Mac it's going to go in, and it just lives there from then on. But for this external one, I admit I've taken the card out a whole bunch of times while I've been testing other stuff. But if we have the ability to choose images, or what I should probably do is just make a bunch of smaller images. Then I can just choose one without having to take it out just for this test. This is basically for testing only. I can use this along with this doohickey and test PowerBooks too. And I've already used this on my my Wall Street and on the 165, and it worked on both. I like building the Blue SCSI except for this card slot, and on a couple of them that I got before Joe was building them, I got a few from Tom, and I had him put the slot on for me, and then I soldered the whole rest of the kit myself. And just for completeness, while we're here, this one that was kind of crusty, I just want to see what it does. So I'm going to hook it up. That way I will have gone through all of these except the one that's missing the processor. So plug this little guy in here. Plug the Apple II speaker in here. All these pins are all bent. And then blue SCSI. And that should be it. Right? Okay. And after, wow, it chimed. I totally expected this to crash. Okay, it boots. This didn't boot the last time I tried it. And there's a little bit of corrosion over here, right by the PDS slot. But I guess it doesn't care. It just I can do this while it's on, I guess. Or maybe it's just surface stuff. All right. Try to clean it in the ultrasonic later. Wow, that boots. That's amazing. And it has 4 gigs of RAM. That's awesome. Let's see. This one appears to have 800K ROMs and IWM in it. I think it was originally might have been originally an FDHC, and I stole the chips out of it because I thought it was dead. But I'm just going to run Tattletech on it real quick just to make sure that it sees all the parts. And we're past 6:30, which is my dinner time, so I'm going to have to get out of here in a few minutes. I appreciate it's like 6 people right now. And I know there was 1 or 2 that popped in and out. Appreciate you coming and sharing some time with me while I'm working on junk I got to work on anyway. Yeah, it sees the CPU, sees the 4 megs of RAM, and sees the slot. And the reason I look for the slot is because on a lot of these, if these chips over here are doing something weird, it makes it like think there's no slot. And this is sort of like the logic in Mac 2, where it sees the NuBus slots. If it doesn't see the PDS slot, then it's kind of, if you guys watched Steve's stream when he was fixing my 2X, if it doesn't see that, it's not going to work right. It's not as bad as the 2X because you only got 1 slot, but like that 2X was going to have 1 slot if you hadn't fixed it. But these boards are pretty foolproof. This one actually has the RAM size changer by resistor, and somebody left it here and they just left it floating, which I don't really like. But oh, hey, Geek with Social Skills, how's it doing? How you doing? All right, I'm just gonna check the sound on this because I didn't have the speaker on, and I booted it. That works. This actually sounds a little better than the other one. Sweet. I'll do some Steves there. All right. ADB obviously works. And I never made this image. Left a couple weird things on it, but Seems to work fine. All right, so that means out of this pile, and this is not a surprise on these first two, I've got a working SE30 from 1988 with a ceramic CPU, which is really cool. I think this one is going to get the Big Mess Wires ROM and a lot more RAM than 4 megs. I think I can probably put 68 in here with what I've got laying around. And this will go into the Green Mac, which I'm going to do a video about soon. The next one is the other one that Joe fixed for me. And this is an 89 version of the same board. Just a couple component differences. And this one looks brand new. I mean, this is an excellent cleaning job. I've never gotten boards to look quite this good out of my cleaner. It must be the solution I'm using because I just use cheap stuff. This one, unlike the other one, has a battery holder. And I'm not sure what I want to do about the other one with the battery. And maybe I'll just leave it snipped out. I don't really need the battery. But I guess I could just solder in the holder. It has the little pin for holding the battery holder. So those were unexpectedly good. Then I have the two SEs. This one is a 4 meg FDHD, which tested good. The one I thought was dead, which is an 800K, 4 meg, and it's good. And then surprisingly, without really testing this board ahead of time, this one with the Radius 68020 with the FPU works. And this is the one that I burned new ROMs for using ROM chips that I found laying around that are from 1986. So, and I made little labels for them. So, and then this accelerator is kind of cool. It has an extra slot here, and I have a full page display card that will fit onto that slot. So I can have an 020 and a full page external monitor with that one. And then, so out of the 6 boards, we have 5 going. And then my plans for this one that's missing the CPU is not to fix it because it's got other issues. My plan is to use the chips off of it to finish up my SE Reloaded board. My SE Reloaded board is missing the ROMs, this big chip here, I'm not sure what it's called, and the VIA and the SCSI chip. Those are missing from mine right now. And that's a board that Kai Robinson made, and it's one I got is made out of red PCB, which I think looks really kind of cool. So that's about all I'm going to do today on this stream. I only plan to stream for an hour, and I've been a little bit over that now. I want to say thanks to Joe again for working on those boards. Way better job than I could have done. I still suck at surface mount, and if Steve ever shows my third 2X board, you'll see how bad I am at surface mount. That's why I shipped it off to him to have somebody do it. And then I sent Joe the SE30s. And somebody asked me earlier what I'm going to do with all these boards. I've got at least 3 SE cases, which the SEs will probably now go back to. And then the SE30, that's the nicer one, I'm going to put into the Green Mac. And then I'm going to build just a regular old SE30. And that I will probably put up for sale because I don't need 2 SE30s. But thanks for coming by, everybody. I see you in the chat right now. Retro Techie, Geek with Social Skills, Dave's Vintage Apple Tech, Garth Beagle, hey, Joe's Computer Museum, and you should go there and buy if you want one of these blue SCSI things. These things are awesome. If you're not dumb and don't put the card in like me, all the way in. But Joe's thing is jcm1.com, and I will probably be back online soon. I'm not traveling right away again. And I'm going to have a video about more Apple II stuff coming up. And we're going to talk about, I was talking to RetroTechie earlier today, and he just was asking basic questions about like how to turn it on and how to boot it and whatever. So I thought we'd just start off with an Apple II, some disk drives, some with different kind of connectors on them and whatever, the most common stuff that you'll find. And just grab a random Apple II, some random disk controller cards, and a few floppy drives, and we're going to go through how to connect it. What's the difference between, and this actually goes for the Mac too, like the difference between an IDC20 and a DB19, and then how to adapt them on a floppy EMU. This is the thing Steve always loses. You can connect them together. But what's funny is these two standards are ancient. This is from 1977, and then this is in like 82. And Apple stuck with it all the way through the 90s. So even on a 1999 Beige G3, you'll still find an IDC20 connector the same as you would in a 1977 Apple II. So we'll go through all that. And I haven't really found a video where it's like just super basic like that. And I thought that might be helpful to some people. And I was going to make it as like a produced video, but I think I'm just going to wing it and do an Apple II. I'll have the camera set up a little bit different, and I'm going to figure out how to run composite video into the stream so we can all see the screen together, and I won't have to point the camera like this down at a screen, which I think is kind of hokey. So look for that coming soon. I'll post on Twitter. If you want to follow me there, if you aren't already, it's at Macintosh, which is named after the green Mac that I'm building. Or you should go to Tinker Different. Sometimes I post there. And then Steve has a great Discord server for Mac84, and I've been posting some links and stuff there too. So I appreciate you guys all coming out. Like RetroTechie said, if you want to hit like, go for it. A new channel, so I could use all the help I can get. If you can get anybody else to subscribe, that'd be helpful. I was at about 47 when I started today. I think that's where I still am. But if you know anybody who wants to talk about old Macs and really old Apple II stuff, send them over here. So I'll see you guys later. I'm going to go slide over here and click end stream now. Have a good one.